Alright guys, what's going on? So today we're going to be mixing up the plans with the Foxbody. So we're originally supposed to finish up the interior, which is completely torn apart right now, but of course part stores always prevail and they never have your parts when they're supposed to be there. My evaporator for this thing was supposed to show up at 3 o'clock. It's 5:30, I just went there and it's still not there, so I'm kind of not really sure what I want to do about that. So instead we're going to mix it up and actually just do a whole different project, start another project, because why not? I haven't finished the first one. So I'm going to put the car up on the jack stands and do the inner tie rods, because that's something that needs to be done, as well as the exhaust. The exhaust needs to be basically gone through front to back. It's dragging on the ground, there's holes in it, there's a bunch of stuff I don't like. So the first thing we have to do is put the car up in the air and get it on ramps. So I got my buddy bringing me some ramps right now, because the front of the car has to be on its own weight to do the inner tie rods. And then we'll also have to get the car pretty high up in the air to do the exhaust. So I'm gonna go and get this thing jacked up. We're gonna get into this. So if you've ever taken a dash out on your Foxbody, this might be a familiar sight. It's a little bit of a sketchy one to look at, considering the car was pretty clean. It was together for the most part. But we did end up taking that guy out, which I don't know which video is gonna come first, honestly, at this point. But yeah, that came out of it. That's a heater core. But we do have a mess of an interior just kind of lying around in here and waiting to all go back in, all because this guy right here, which I ordered like a week ago and it still hasn't showed up, I guess. Like I said, part stores, gotta love them, man. You gotta set deadlines to finish stuff and they just stop your project cold. Aha. And so instead, we're gonna install this stuff. So I'm hoping nothing in here is damaged. I have a bad luck with that, but hopefully this will be an easy install. So I'm gonna unbox this, show you guys what we got. I got stickers. Important update, one of my stickers is missing and I'm not sure why, and I'm a little upset about that, not gonna lie. Found the other sticker. Alright, so these are the tips we're gonna put in. It's a very simple install. It's just the over the axle piece, and then as my luck, usually is, this tip's a little bit messed up. I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. There's a little flat spot, like a dent right there. You can see it's flat, basically where my thumb is. And it's not a lot, but just a little bit there. Now you can see it. It's gonna bug the hell out of me. So now I gotta straighten that. But these are just Flowmaster, these are on LMR. This is the 2.5 inch, basically over the axle piece. I already have good mufflers, nice X pipe, so we're just gonna throw this in. We're gonna put the car up in the air, get some ramps on the front end so we can put the inner tie rods in. This whole thing should go in pretty easily. That's why I say that now. Okay, so before you go down, so watch, so this is what we're fixing. That's fine, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
To drive my F100, legitimately, I feel safer driving that because the rack is so blown out. But I'm pretty sure it's the tie rods, not the rack. It's the rack.
Definitely a tie rod.
Yeah, because you can hear it clunking pretty bad. So as I drive down the road, I feel like I'm driving. This drives very similar to the 61, my red 4-wheel drive truck that I had, where the steering wheel just kind of like tap it this way and tap it the other way, but it still just kind of walks all over the place. So yeah, that's cool. Flowmaster just makes an aftermarket kit for it.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Shake it, see what happens.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut that there, and I should be able to, I think I can pull the rest of it out, but this needs to get raised up a lot, because it's not even close. Okay, so those are you guys that haven't seen this yet. It's pretty much straight back off. I have Bbk equal length headers in the front, comes back to an X pipe, which you can see is right there. And then I don't know what, I think this is the SpinTech kit, because SpinTech, these are SpinTech mufflers, I don't remember what model, but they do make a kit for the Foxbody, so I think from the X pipe back, this is all SpinTech stuff. Which you can see is, it's definitely too low. It's not supposed to be hanging that low. The whole thing is hanging really low, especially right there, where the actual collector is, hitting the ground constantly. And then the mufflers are way too low. It's supposed to be tucked up in the body. Whatever shop or whoever put this in basically just slammed the pipe in there and welded it, and it didn't really weld very well, so it's got a bunch of exhaust leaks. And then our up and over the axle piece is made in like 4 different pieces. It's impossible for me to film this, but let's just say our flow numbers are not going to be that great. So I'm going to start off by actually sawzawing off in the front here. I'm just going to cut that weld, and then I'll unbolt this and drop the whole rest of the exhaust, and I should be able to take the back part off, then pull the SpinTechs out. Oh yeah, look at that airflow. Nice. This can come out. I didn't want to drop it on your hand. All right, well, this is kind of what we got going on. So these are Spintech mufflers. A lot of you guys noticed that. These things are really cool. They sound amazing, but whoever put these in at one point, I think they had an issue with the X-pipe hanging so low. As you can see, basically it should not be that low. It should be way higher up on the end of the car. And I think basically when they went to install this is a bolt-in kit, the X-pipe kind of gave us an issue. So you can see that one flange is shorter than the other. I think normally this kit is made for one that's symmetrical. So when they went to put this kit in, it didn't fit. So this tube, as you can see, is normal, but this one had to be cut and modified to fit. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there isn't anything wrong with what's here. It's just had to make what you got work. But there's a lot of problems with the welds not sealing, and the exhaust hung so low it was dragging on the ground. So you can see that exhaust leak right here. There's a couple exhaust leaks on this flange kind of going around, and you can see they basically cut it and then turned it over to kind of give this pipe some more room so it would still fit. And you can see whatever kind of welds were back here didn't fit. And going around, there's some right there. This one, I think the same thing. Yeah, just no sealing whatsoever. But these are Spintechs. These mufflers are awesome. I highly recommend these if you're going for like a NASCAR or higher pitch sound. An X-pipe and these things are absolutely amazing. You can see the circular baffles, which are exactly the same as a NASCAR boom tube. These things sound wicked. But these are the Flowmaster 2.5-inch kit. Next to these, they look like a 3-inch kit, but this is what I didn't realize is I thought I had 2.5-inch piping all the way around in this thing. You can see more exhaust leaks in the previous stuff. Going around, but I actually had to dent this to fit my massive 275 tire on the car. But this is a full 2-inch kit. So somebody basically took the 2.5-inch mufflers and kit that you get from Spintech that should bolt in this car and tried stuffing a 2-inch exhaust basically right into it. Kind of filled it with weld, basically, is what happened here. So you can see those are two completely different sized pipes that are in there. Kind of booger welded in, make it all work. Again, nothing really wrong with that if it works, but it obviously didn't work. So yeah, this is a true Flowmaster 2.5-inch, basically over the actual kit. You can see the bends are all a lot better. There's no kinking or any sort of weird shapes. You can see the restriction right there, and actually where I had to dent it for the tire, pre-bent right there, so I can fit a much larger tire and it won't be an issue. So we're gonna swap these tubes out, and I'm basically gonna work from the headers back on this one. I was kind of hoping I can just push that X-pipe up, but I'm definitely gonna have to like cut it over at the header side and then kind of do a pie cut to pull everything back up higher into the car and just kind of work my way from front to back. So it's gonna take a long time. Let's get at it. All right, so the first thing I need to do is fix this front part of the exhaust. And I believe if I just loosen the collector bolts, I might be able to rotate it up a little bit and then retighten them. It's the first thing I'm gonna try. Because basically if not, then I'm gonna have to cut that right at the bend. I'm gonna have to cut it straight down here and then kind of do like a pie cut, push the exhaust up and then re-weld it, which I really don't wanna do, but I might have to. So I don't know, I'm gonna try that first. All right. Okay, so after a lot of cutting and massaging, you can see it's a lot. He's not hanging down all weird, so that's what we like. We don't want it hanging below the body. So you can see it actually sits up into the training crossbar where it's supposed to. The only downside is I have to fill that gap over there, which you can see I made a pie cut for, which it's not quite fitted yet, but yeah, then it'll go back all the way over to here. And then I can turn up after the X-pipe, turn it up higher so the exhaust mufflers don't drag on the ground. I'm tired. That was not supposed to be as much of a pain, but it is. So I'm gonna keep on trucking and hopefully I can get this thing at least all mocked up to the mufflers by tonight. And then I can just do the over the axle in the morning and it'll be super easy. Yeah, man, cars just never go my way. I don't know what's going on. It sucks. All right, so that's all tacked in there now. You can see that looks pretty good. It's really, like I said, it's really hard to get this fat camera under there. So you can see what I'm going for. kind of make it a little turn, and then I'll move the exhaust to make a turn go the other way, so it's basically going to be like an S kind of pattern to where it basically moves the whole exhaust over. But look at how nice that is now. Now it doesn't hang below. It used to hang like 3 inches below that cross member. Now it's not very much at all, which is good. So definitely happy with that. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. And as you can see, the rest of the exhaust is going to sit up nicely in the chassis. I've already hung the muffler. The muffler does not go below the floorboard, which is good. It used to hang like 3-4 inches below the floorboard. But highlight this product real quick. So this is from Heatshield Products, one of the good companies that I work with all the time. Make amazing stuff, and this is no exception. So this is a welding pillow, and it's really cool because it's basically fireproof, waterproof, oil-proof, dirt-proof, whatever you want to call it. It's heavy, so it basically is like a weighted pillow that doesn't slide around on you. I mean, you can basically lay it out this way. You can fold it up, lay it out this way with hold your neck this way if you're really up high. You don't have to be fatigued when you're trying to maneuver your neck a certain way to kind of get up into a bunch of hard to reach places, to where you can just kind of set that thing and fold it in all sorts of different directions. It kind of holds your head. You won't worry about it lighting on fire. It's stiff enough to where it won't sag as you're welding in the middle of welding. It won't start to fall over, which is nice. And like I said, that thing's totally fireproof, so it's not going to catch on fire or anything. It's not going to be like a match underneath your neck hairs letting your head on fire. So I'll leave a link to that pillow down in the description below. You guys are definitely want to check that out. Those guys make amazing products. They're all made right here in USA, and I'll go ahead and I'll get the box and show you the part number for it. Yeah, so you can see there's the part number right there. It says no sparks, oil, won't make you any fatigue. It's an 8x10 by 2.5, and then you can kind of flip it any direction you want. And they make a couple different sizes. They make one that's smaller than that as well. So if you don't want one quite that big, you just want something to rest your hand on, or your wrist. If you're a TIG guy, they have one literally for your wrist. They've also got this really rad thing that I got. So I used this one a lot when I was doing the sheet metal in the Galaxy, because I didn't like wearing a glove because it was very, very, tight fitting metal, and I used to have to be very precise with my fingers. So I could lay this thing on the panel and I wouldn't have to worry about burning the side of my hand, and then I can just slip it on and slip it right back off. And this thing, I could blow a torch right on the bottom of this and it would not affect my hand whatsoever. So these are really cool products. They make a bunch of cool things. These are just some of them. I definitely stand with those guys. They make incredible products. I definitely wouldn't rep their stuff if it sucked. We have all their stuff underneath the hood of the engine bay of the F100, and it's changed the way that thing looks and works, keeping the temperatures down. Those guys rock. So Heatshield Products, I'll leave a link down on their website down below. Definitely check out some of their products. You might be surprised what you can find. Alright guys, so real quick I want to talk about pie cuts and fitting different exhaust pieces and kind of working with a custom exhaust if you've never done it. You can go to any exhaust shop or O'Reilly's or different auto parts stores, and they actually will sell a radius bend of whatever diameter tubing you're working with. I'm working with 2.5 inch, so that's what all this stuff is. And this was a 90. So basically this was a 90 here, and I was cutting different little pieces, which you can see right here as I went along, to try to fit that gap in different diameters and sizes. And the easiest way to do that is when you start, basically take a long measurement and measure this gap and measure where you want to end. So I know the current exhaust, I have it going one way, I need it to go the other. So basically what I did is I measured the gap on the back side, which was 3/4 inch. So I knew I was going to have no gap in the front, and I measured out that 3/4 inch in the back. I basically drew a line up here, a line right here, and then connected the two. So now when I cut that thing, that pretty much should just drop right in. Alright guys, so now you can see what I was talking about. I'm not a master fabricator by any means, but you can see what I was going for. So it kind of goes over and then it's back down. Has a little more curvature to it than a normal pipe does, which works. So no one's ever going to see this. It just has to not leak, so that's all I really care about. Yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and stuff it back in the car. Alright, so one of the biggest issues you got to fix with this exhaust is the bottlenecked kind of tailpipes going out the back. So that's a 2.5 inch muffler with a 2 inch stuffed into it, and I hammered this down and then welded on it. Again, I guess if it works, run it, but I'm not going to bottleneck the exhaust like that. You can see the massive 2.5 inch diameter right here, and it just goes down to this puny little guy up over the axle. So I cut this off, try to straighten it as best I can. I mean, it's a pretty good one, not gonna lie. They definitely made sure it didn't leak, even though I'm pretty sure on the back side it definitely leaked. But I'm gonna hack this off and try to straighten it out. Yeah. There you go. The only thing I have is a potato chip clip, and it works. Dang, yeah, you can see the exhaust was just going right around that, and just totally restrictive. All right, so I think you got it all figured out. You guys can see it, well, you can't see anymore. It doesn't hang down really low, which is great. So this whole setup, it's actually tucked pretty high now. You can see it across all the way back. Then we got the muffler hung on the passenger side. We got the muffler hung on the passenger side. That goes back to the over the axle and out the back of the car. So I do have it routed all the way back up and around, and basically what I was left with was this little gap, this little 3¼ inch gap. I made a little section for, you can see it's in there right now. I got it all clamped up, now I just gotta tack it all together and fully weld this thing. So not too bad. If it doesn't fit, you gotta make it fit. So you can see that piece right there. I just kinda had to add a little 3-inch section, which I pretty much expected because of it being shoved in the exhaust like that. I knew I was gonna have to take some of the muffler off and add some material. I didn't think it was gonna be quite 3 inches, but whatever, it still works. And I have my incredibly OSHA approved my lighter as a my little gauge to the bumper to make sure the tips don't drag or kind of look kind of funky. That definitely looks good. Happy with the way that sits. Looks like it's coming at me pretty straight. Exhaust, wheel fits still, suspension cycles. So I think we're good. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack weld this thing in, get the other side, and then we'll fully weld the whole thing hopefully in the next couple hours. Alright guys, got everything pretty much where I want it. You can see this side's done. Looks really, really good with that shotgun tip sticking out there. And I got the other one pretty much mocked up where it's gonna land. You can see I've got it all ran back to where there's nothing more than that little gap right here, which is gonna be pretty easy to fill. So I'll go ahead and I'll take a measurement of that, make another test pipe, go ahead and weld that thing in.
What are we doing?
We're starting a car that's totally safe and OSHA approved.
We're gonna see how little you actually need to start a Foxbody.
I have nothing but the computer and the main harness that's obviously like part of the car, and the gauge is plugged in. That's it, just the gauges.
So just to prove a point, all this was plugged into something at one point or another, and we pulled the dash out. That is so funny. Nice.
This thing sounds sick.
Heck yeah, it does.
I think I have an exhaust leak. I can already hear that.
Oh, so much better.
I don't know if oh yeah, the light.
It kind of shows it up around the light. There's so much haze in this garage right now.
Little rev to like 25 and it just blasted.
All right, exit the garage. Gotta breathe. Gotta breathe.
Alright guys, so we're going to pick up with this car, and so the exhaust is now finished. Now we're going to do the inner and outer tie rod real quick. The inners are bad on this car, so it drives no different than my truck did when I bought it. So I'm going to go ahead and change the inner and outer at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the dust boots off the steering rack. I'm going to swap those out real quick. So that just came out of the rack. So that means the whole rack's bad. Damn it.
That's not the tie rod that's bad, that would be the rack.
It's just one thing after another. You guys don't know because it's on camera, but this has been a really rough week with cars. Let's just put it that way.
can tell it's very loud out of the back of the car, but it sounds really good. I like the tone of these mufflers. Sounds pretty good for making all of 200 horsepower, so pretty stoked about that. And do a little rip of it down the street so you can hear what it sounds like. Alright, there you guys have it. It was pretty good. This thing sounds way better. It's not restricted anymore by having a 2-inch over the axle. Now it's a full 2.5 inch. So for those of you guys who don't know, these are Bbk. I think they're an equal length shorty, but they are a Bbk Shorty Header for the Foxbody. Catless, basically downpipe, X-pipe, straight back to the Spintech mufflers, and then basically everything is 2.5 inch all the way back, and then it has Flowmaster over the axle tips, which you can get on LMR. And the Spintech kit, I believe, is for a Foxbody, and you can actually get it to where it pretty much bolts in. So everything that I have here, you can buy and bolt in. The only thing I'm not quite so sure about is the X-pipe and the downpipes that come off of the collectors. So, but most of the stuff's pretty generic, pretty self-explanatory. It's all simple stuff that any one of you guys could go get. You don't really need a crazy amount of experience to make your car sound like this. I like it. Some guys don't. Some guys do. Exhaust is one of those hit or miss things where you never know if someone's gonna like it or not. Not everyone is going to like it, but it's my car. I think it sounds really good, and I can definitely say I'm happy with it. So hope you guys went on to enjoy today's video. If you did, please leave a like on this video. It would really mean a lot to me. I smashed out that exhaust, and I think about a day and a half, I think it took me to rebuild the whole thing, which you saw all the stuff that went into it. So it's not really that much work. You can definitely do it if you know what you're doing, or if you don't, take your time and learn. It's always worth the experience, and you'll definitely acquire a skill along the way. So subscribe if you are new, like the video if you did enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next video with a Foxbody. Bye guys.